the Kimber KDS9C Rail version. Let's check it out. Kimber released their KDS9C in September 2023. This is a double stack 9mm 1911. It has all the same features of your 1911 with a slightly thicker grip, and it holds 15+1 in the magazine, compared to your single stack 9mm, which will hold 10 rounds. It gives you more round capacity, but plus it just really has a unique look to it. And now Kimber's just released their KDS9C Rail. This has a Pic Rail for accessories for lights or lasers, but there's a number of other upgrades they've made with the new version. But one of the big ones is it has a 15-round mag capacity and an 18-round mag capacity. So this really competes with your 2011s. So it gives you that 1911 feel with a little bit thinner grip, and yet it gives you that double stack mag capacity. And it competes with the Wilson Combat EDC X9, which is almost twice the price. And to be honest with you, especially after the first review, I think the Kimber KDS9C stands toe-to-toe. So guys, a big thank you to Kimber for partnering with us with the KDS9C. This is definitely going to be a keeper. And guys, if you're ever at a gun shop and one of these is sitting in the case, I highly recommend just picking it up. It'll just melt in your hand. Well guys, the KDS9C, a beautiful pistol, really again based on the 2011 style, but yet it's that 1911 function. All the controls are 1911, grip angle, and yet it holds 15+1. This has been a beautiful gun to shoot, take to the range. It's great for home defense, and really it kind of compares with the Wilson EDC9, which honestly is considerably more expensive than the KDS9C. Now, C is for compact, and this is actually a 4.9-inch barrel. Even the Commander has a 4.25-inch barrel, so this is a little bit shorter than your Commander style, and yet it's not quite as short as the small micros. Now they've come out with their KDS9C, and this is with the rail version. And so a lot of people were wanting that rail. And honestly, when they introduced this, they were already planning to do the rail. And so this gives you a 4-slot Picatinny rail for lights, lasers, whatever you want to put on it. So this just gives you a lot more advantages. There are some other differences that we're going to look at, but I think this is one of the biggest that came out right out of the gate. Now before we get started, we're going to go ahead and we're going to check to make sure that the guns are unloaded. And they are. So what we have is a double-stacked 1911. And of course, here's 1911. The big thing about the 1911 is, besides it's just proven and well-loved, it is a single stack. This is in 45 ACP, so we have 8 rounds. But if it was a 9mm, it'd be 10 rounds. Here, with the double-stack KDS9C, we have 15 rounds, and again, we have the 18 rounds. Just gives us a lot more capacity. Now, there's a trade-off. It's thicker. It's a thicker grip. But let's look at how thick it is. It's not that much thicker. The grips on this 1911 bring this grip out. Now, because it's so thin, really it's more comfortable with these larger, thicker grips. But with the KDS9C, it has super thin grips, And so while you do have more space in between, it's larger, it's thin as well. It's not that much thicker than the 1911. And the 1911 with that 17-degree grip angle, it's almost an illusion that the KDS9C has a different grip angle because it kind of curves back. But you can see the straight line here, and again, this is a bob that just gives it more comfort to your hand. But honestly, it's really the same grip angle. Now you have your grip safety that's coming out, which this one's pinned. But overall, as far as the feel and the front, it's just a straight line. I mean, really, the silhouette is almost identical between these two handguns. And so that is really the big plus for the KDS9C. And again, instead of going with the 2011 style, which actually makes it a bigger firearm, this is more traditional for your 1911. But it has a lot of cool upgrades. This is Bull Armory SAS-2. It's the TAC 4.25. This is just an excellent pistol, has the double stack magazines. It's a 1911 with a polymer grip shell, aluminum frame. And this is the big deal right now with a lot of people going to this kind of a hybrid, honestly. This gets back to just the traditional aluminum frame with the stainless steel, even though this has the Kim coat finish on it. And really, they kind of function in the same way. But definitely the grip's a little bit different, a little bit thicker, actually, on the 2011 style. And, whether you go with staccato, STI, I mean, there's a number of different ones out there. But this is the style a lot of people are going for, but this just brings it into a more conventional style and still with the same advantages. Now you do get a 15-round magazine, which came with the first, but you also get an 18-round magazine, and it has the magazine extension. And of course, these are going to be from Kimber. They are proprietary, but they go in really well. There is a little bit of beveling here. We have G10 scales that are what they call the cross-hatch pattern, also here at the back and here at the front. Now, while these are not like super aggressive, when you grip them, it seems to hold into your hand very tight. And so it gives you some texturing that's smooth to the touch, but yet it really holds firm when you're shooting the pistol. Now these are 9mm, which KDS means Kimber double stack 9mm compact. We have a beaver tail, and yet it's pinned. On the 1911, you have a beaver tail here that's actually a passive safety, but this is pinned so you don't have to even think about it, but yet it gives you that advantage of the full high ride beaver tail, which really gets your hand up high right to the bore. And then, your hammer, as it comes back, is going to rest in that beaver tail. Now the hammer is not really a Commander or Delta style hammer. It has a very unusual look to it, but it's purposeful, and it has serrations here at the top, so you can cock that really easily. And to be honest with you, with a single action pistol, there's not a lot of reasons to pull that hammer back. If you have a malfunction and you don't fire around, you can pull that hammer back and fire it. Serrations are wide, and they go all the way up the top. One of the things about this handgun is there's a lot of really high-end features to it and a lot of attention to detail. Again, serrations are wide. It makes it really easy. I mean, this thing is super smooth. It has a 4.09-inch barrel. It is stainless steel. It's fluted, and we'll take a good look at it when we break it down. But one of the things to me is the 30-degree crown. I mean, this thing is just so deep. If the rifling comes all the way out, it can get hit, and it will affect your accuracy. And then we have a plug here, but it's a little different than a 1911, but really disassembly is very close. You have your slide stop right here, which is a traditional 1911 style. We have our frame safety right here that is extended, and it is on the other side, so it is ambidextrous. On the first model, we only had the one side frame safety. But this gave the original KDS9C a very smooth trim finish. Again, without the accessory rail, you have no extended safety or no Ambi safety here, and so you just had that one safety. But for those who are left-handed, who really need that safety, you have either side, and obviously if you're shooting weak hand, you've got the safety here. Now the magazine release, which is very well textured, and of course it just jettisons those mags out. What's different between this and the traditional 1911 is you can switch it to the other side. So it will fit here, and that way, you know, you have ambidextrous mag release. We have a skeletonized trigger, and it does have a over travel screw that you can set. We'll check out trigger pull in just a second. But the finish on Kimbers are always top notch, and this black finish is absolutely beautiful. Here on the stainless model, which is raw stainless, and it has a really nice satin finish to it. Again, I mean, it's just a very well finished handgun. Now, one difference as well is we have our optics cut right here, and we have an aluminum plate. You can take this off. You have to order your mounts, which tends to be, a lot of companies are doing that because there's so many different red dot patterns out there, or different footprints. Here, it's changed. So it has more of two screws, and it kind of divots in. To be honest, I think it looks better. This kind of looks a little bit plain, and two, with that kind of aluminum, it has a little bit of a different color to it. But with this one, I mean, it's very well finished. And then we have a different sight. Now, this is a dovetailed sight, but it's 3-dot. It is tritium, so you have night sights. With the original, we had an adjustable blacked out rear, and we had a fiber optic front, and again, dovetailed in. And I believe these are true glow sights. One of the things, though, about this cover is that the sight is attached. And they have options for the Trijicon RMR or the Holosun C. Then they have the Shield RMS-C or the Holosun K. And those are $79.95, and a lot of that has to do just with the cost of the sight. And when it comes to magazines, the standard 15-round magazine, I believe, is $40, and then the 18-round magazine is $52. Now, one of the things about a 1911 is the extractor comes out right here at the back of the slide. Here on the KDS9, there is a pin that holds in your extractor. We have the cover plate here that hides that, but there's going to be a pin here as well. And so that goes a little bit different than the original 1911. Of course, honestly, while this has a lot of the styling of 1911s, I mean, it is really a completely different handgun. And not just because it has the higher round capacity. Now, while those serrations come up to the top of the slide, you'll notice that it has beautiful serrations going all the way down right here. And this really takes off the glare when you're shooting, and it's just very well done. You don't see that anymore on a lot of guns. And then, of course, that dovetailed front sight. Now, originally, Kimbers were made in Yonkers, New York, and they have moved their facilities down to Troy, Alabama. And obviously in New York, they're not so friendly to the Second Amendment, so it just gives them more freedom. Well, being the rail model, we wanted to try on some different lights, and I want to thank Optics Planet for sending the Streamlight, and we have the TLR1 and the HL, and then we have one of the Surefire, and this is the X300 Ultra. And these are just excellent lights, and they do give a 7% discount using Suit 00. Which includes everything on their site except clearance items. So we really appreciate Optics Planet for sending these. And right in the right time. Okay, so with the Surefire X300 Ultra, pull it down, it fits right against the trigger guard, and then we can reach it without too much trouble. And then with the Streamlight, the TLR1, now it fits, but it doesn't fit flush with the trigger guard. But one of the things I want to show you is because the paddles on the Streamlight come out, it's really easy to be able to get to. In fact, honestly, it's easier than the Surefire. So we can hit that paddle very easily. Next we have the Olight PL Turbo. This is one of their Valkyries. This one has an adjustable bar system, so it'll fit into your Picatinny rail and you can adjust this. And I really like that because you can really fit this to wherever you want to, and we'll tighten it up. Now they also have paddle systems as well that are quick detach. Here, I mean, we can get right to it, same thing, and it does fit very well. And as far as trigger pull action, again, we have a skeletonized trigger. We do have an over travel screw that you can adjust. And so here we have take up right here, and it stops. And then a nice crisp break. Let's check reset really fast. The trigger on here is exceptional. Now Kimber states 3.5 to 4.5 pound trigger pull, 3 pounds, 3 ounces. 2 pounds, 12 ounces. So it's really on the light side of 3 pounds. Weight on the Kimber KDS9C, 29.6 ounces. The original KDS9C without the rail, 28.1 ounces. I always want to give a big thank you to Fiocchi for sponsoring our ammo, all made in the USA. One of the biggest suppliers of ammunition in the country. And also, we love our Lula loaders. Right guys, the KDS9C from Kimber. This is the rail model. First edition was excellent. Of course, you know, guys like to put lights on the front of their gun, especially for home defense. We have night sights on it, ambidextrous safeties. Of course, you have your 15 plus your 18 round magazine. So there are some good upgrades to this. It is optics ready. Of course, you got to get the plate. This goes in really well, of course, with that beveled mag well. It's got all the 1911 controls to it, and that safety just comes up really nice. This fits in your hand very well, but it shoots like a 1911. Yeah, the rail really makes a big difference, honestly, again, for home defense, but doesn't really affect the reliability. And we have shot quite a bit with the original, then with the rail model, and it's very reliable. We haven't had any kind of malfunctions. But of course, this will take whatever light you're looking for. And guys, this really updates the 1911. And of course, with that high round capacity, and that is the big thing, is smaller guns, more rounds. And of course, with the legendary 1911, you know, it just really is a very reliable combat handgun. But really, the recoil impulse on this is really nice. Again, uber reliable, easy to get to that light, magazines drop free. I mean, these are not, you know, inexpensive. I mean, they do bring a little bit of a premium, but it's Kimber quality. And guys, this thing, there's just something about it. I've been carrying the original for a while, and while it is a larger gun in a sense, it's very carryable, and that's one of the things about a larger gun. It gives you a lot more confidence. All right, for disassembly, we're going to drop our magazine, check the chamber. This disassembles like your 1911. So we're going to bring back the slide, and there's a small little divot right here, a little notch. And we're going to bring it all the way back to our slide stop. And once you get it here, you just take from the other side and you push through on the slide stop. Now, because it's a little bit thicker, sometimes it takes a little bit, there it goes, a little bit more to get it out. But that is your slide stop. And then we're going to let the slide go forward, but put your hand right next to the recoil spring to make sure it doesn't go flying out. Next, we're going to take our recoil spring and guide rod, and we're just going to pull this out. This is one of the flat coil recoil springs, which honestly aid in recoil. And then, of course, we have more of a traditional guide rod. This is a little bit longer than some, but you still get that guide rod. And with that little bit of length, it's going to make the spring even more steady. Right here is your recoil spring plug. Give it a little bit of a bump and just let that fall out. And that captures your recoil spring. Take the link in your barrel and drop it down, and then just bring your barrel forward. Now, I'll tell you what, guys, this in itself is a work of art. It's all stainless steel. Again, it's 4.09 inches. It does come out and kind of bevel toward the end, and that just helps it to fit with your slide. It gives you better accuracy. But the fluting in this barrel and the different step downs, I mean, this takes quite a bit to perform. And then we have a nice high polished feed ramp as well. So beautiful barrel system, and again, we've got that crowned 30-degree crown on the end. When it comes to the frame, you have your slide rails here, a little bit more than you have on a lot of your polymer frame striker fire pistols, your ejector, And you know, guys, overall, I mean, it's well finished inside and very 1911 looking. Then of course the interior of the slide, very well done. There is some wear right here with the barrel, but we shot quite a bit through here. So guys, pretty much 1911, no big mysteries here. Take your barrel, make sure that your link is down, and slide it back into the slide, making sure that it fits toward the back. And then I'm going to take my plug, my recoil spring plug, go ahead and set it inside, and then I want to take my recoil spring, put it over the guide rod, slip it into the plug. We want to bring up our barrel link though, and we'll go ahead and just compress it and put it into place. Now you want to make sure that your guide rod is even and flush, because you don't want it to be canted, which will make it impossible to get over your frame. And then take your barrel link and put this down. This is what your slide stop is going to go through. Next, we're just going to put it right over our frame. Now look through this hole, and when you see your barrel link, you can go ahead and put in your slide stop. And I just rest it down in there like this, and then line up that little notch right there in front of that detent. And then you want to lift your slide stop, set it down very slowly because you don't want to scratch the frame. And then just push it up and in, just like that. If you scratch right here on your frame, I always like to say this, it's called the idiot scratch. I've done it. And you want to be careful. Now, test for function, and we're back in business. It comes in a nice cardboard box, opens up, nice graphics here at the top, and then we have a soft case. And I really like this case. Open this up, double YKK zippers, and we have padded places here for, you know, as many pistols. I mean, you could put 3 in here with no problem. And it's padded here. And then we have a front compartment where you have a place for all your magazines. And then a little sleeve at the front where you can put different things as well. And here is your lock and all your other info. But love these cases. This is much better to me than the old hard box cases, which I have a whole storage unit full. So this is something I'll use. All right, guys, as far as the retail price, these are $1,903. These are a little bit more than the original, mainly because of the rail, the Ambi Safety, the redesign of the sight. Market price is going to be less. It was funny with the original KDS9C, I did not have a retail price. So I got online and started looking, and these are running anywhere between $1,250 and $1,350 or thereabout. And so that gives you an idea that this, you know, again, is going to be considerably less. So what are the pros and cons? Well, first off, it's a 1911 with a double stack magazine. So you've got all the tradition of your 1911, I mean, all the parts, it's very familiar. If you're used to shooting a 1911, this is going to be just an easy segue to get right into it. And again, you have not only the 15+1, but you have an 18 round magazine available. And of course, these are available for, you know, your original KDS9C. It is optics ready, and that's a big plus. I like this optics plate a little bit better. I will say that having to order a separate optics plate and, you know, is a little bit of a ding, especially $79.99 or whatever. That's just if you want the right optics plate. And obviously, because there are different sizes, they offer, you know, they don't want to include all of them, especially since it includes the sight, which I'll give it a plus for that, because a lot of times you'll get just the plate, it replaces the sight, and I just like to have those sights as a backup. The fit and finish on here is beautiful. We did drop this one actually on rocks, so it did give it a couple of little small dings, which really made me kind of sick. But the finish on Kimber, they do just such a great job. I love the wide slide serrations. The fluted barrel is beautiful, the serrations on top. Night sights already included, and then we have really high rod beaver tail. And I do like that 1911 grip, but with that bob at the end. With the rail or without the rail. You can go either way, and then again, you can go with Ambi frame safeties or just on one side. Compare it to your 2011, you know, honestly, it's just a different handgun all the way around. Even though a lot of the controls are the same, with the polymer grip shell, it gives you a whole nother feel to it. And so this, to me, is in a class all by itself. And yet, we have the Kimber KDS9, which is in its class all by itself. Again, the EDC-X from Wilson is, $3,600 or something like that. And so this really compares, and honestly, I don't think that there's any advantage necessarily with the Wilson. I mean, I love Wilson, they make great firearms. But this KDS9C is just an excellent handgun. Guys, if you're a big fan of the 1911, but that round capacity just holds you back from carrying it, this makes an excellent companion. Again, 15+1 or 18+1, double stack, but yet it's thin. Definitely competes with the 2011 market, but man, it has a beautiful look to it. And again, we really appreciate Kimber for sending the KDS9C Rail version for this review. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America, long live the Republic. To check it out. But this earthquake, because it just has a really natural feel to it, which is, this is a very smooth shooting firearm. This is just really a, okay, what the freaking freak. Now the retail price, okay, what is it? Did I not even write it down? What the heck? A couple of months ago, this is something that Kimber, no, it wasn't a couple of months ago. When was it? When was it? Accessory rail on the front. That way you can put optics. You'll put optics on here. I can go, let me see if I can shoot that way.
Yeah, nice.